9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Welcome into the Chris Hand Show. Got a big day. Speaker of the House vote on the way. Jim Jordan not giving up. He got a lot of fight in him. I'm hype. I'm excited. Bow ties are banned. Let's get Jim Jordan in there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what happens. We also had that big speech last night from Joe Biden and how he's going to give all of our money to Ukraine and Israel and doesn't bring up, he doesn't mention Taiwan. He doesn't mention the border, though everybody seems to think that that's also looped into that money he's going to be asking Congress for. Oh, and today is Agenda Free Friday. Woo! So we can talk about anything you want to talk about. I mean, the news cycle has been so wild.
Oh, man.
Like,
unreal.
Just like the past couple weeks, like there's probably been more stories that we've missed than we've been able to talk about.
Gosh, that's so true. That's a great way to think about it. Yeah.
Honestly.
What haven't we talked about?
Every single day I've had stuff on my list of what I want to get to that I haven't gotten to for the last 2 weeks.
Man, yeah. Let's dive in.
615-737-9986. Steve in Murfreesboro, you have a comment about In-N-Out Burger, which is what we were talking about during the Amigos. What's up, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Hey, how's it going, buddy?
What's up?
Yeah, somebody who grew up here in Murfreesboro and then lived in San Diego for 29 years thanks to the U.S. Navy. I have a good story about that. First of all, I just want to start off by saying In-N-Out Burger doesn't touch a good Freddy's Burger. But you guys mentioned Animal Style, and I used to work with a couple of guys there that grew up in Pasadena where the original In-N-Out Burger was. And in that drive-thru, they had it kind of blocked off a little half wall, and they said their buddy, his name was Animal, would get mad when people who weren't from Pasadena would come to their spot. And he'd jump on their hood and yell at the people inside, "Make me a burger, throw in some cheese, throw in some onions," and just scream at the people. And they were kind of scared of the guy, but they called it Animal Style because he would add everything to it. And the rest of that story is that guy, Animal, is now a youth pastor somewhere in California.
No kidding. I think I saw your text come through at the end of the segment. Thanks for calling and sharing that story. That's wild. I hope that one day I can jump on the hoods of cars at our own local In-N-Out Burgers.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Steve. This is the spirit behind Agenda Free Friday.
That's exactly right. That was a great start.
A great start to Agenda Free Friday. You know who didn't have a great start to his speech last night was Joe Biden. They basically had to kick him awake. Joe, you're on the air. You're on the air. But he did announce that we are going to be getting a massive aid package being sent to Congress.
American leadership is what holds the world together.
Oh, that's a great start, Joe. Maybe that's why the world is falling apart, because our leadership is weak and ineffective. That was one of my first takeaways from the first 5 or so words that he said.
American leadership is what holds the world together.
It is. And we had a leader who did hold the world together, but it seems like the guy we got in there right now is letting everything fall apart. American leadership is what holds the world together. Did you watch the speech last night, Mac?
I did. I watched most of it, yeah.
Did he seem sleepy to you?
He did.
And that's the best version of him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
They probably hopped him up on so many stimulants that he's going to sleep through half the day today.
Yes, easily.
American leadership is what holds the world together. American alliances are what keep us, America, safe. American values are what make us a partner that other nations want to work with. To put all that at risk, if we walk away from Ukraine, if we turn our backs on Israel, it's just not worth it.
I disagree. I think it's not worth it when we're $33 trillion in debt to still have these ambitions of being the world police. I mean, seriously, can we just be honest right now? Tell me I'm not crazy, but this entire speech was nuts, right? Was this the craziest presidential speech of the 21st century? The man is not fit to be president. Furthermore, they're looting our treasury. They are looting our treasury. I honestly think the guys running the show behind the curtain for Joe Biden are seeing through the collapse of the United States right now and have just outright started to loot. But Biden is clearly controlled. He's obviously unable and unwilling to oppose what's going on around him, and he seems to be on his deathbed on live TV.
That's why tomorrow I'm going to send to Congress an urgent budget request to fund America's national security needs, to support our critical partners, including Israel and Ukraine. It's a smart investment that's going to pay dividends for American security for generations.
Yeah, well, we're going to be paying for it for generations if this goes through. We're $33 trillion in debt. How can you say anything like that? Giving our money away is a smart investment, Joe. I mean, and where are we getting the money from? I mean, I know the money machines go burr, but are we just printing this stuff out of thin air? Is this just going to help our inflation go even crazier? Unbelievable.
Help us keep American troops out of harm's way. Help us build a world that is safer, more peaceful, more prosperous for our children and grandchildren.
How can we be safer and more peaceful and prosperous if we're giving all of our money away and we're $33 trillion in debt? It's not going to get any better for our kids. I just don't understand the logic behind this guy.
In Israel, we must make sure that they have what they need to protect their people today and always. The security package I'm sending to Congress and asking Congress to do is an unprecedented commitment to Israel's security that will sharpen Israel's qualitative military edge, which we've committed to, the qualitative military edge.
But nailed it, Joe. Now, this aid package that they're sending to Congress, which he leads by saying, we're going to sharpen Israel's military edge. First of all, I would like to point out that they're pretty sharp militarily. We've been funding them to the tune of billions a year for as long as I can remember, probably as long as I've been alive. And furthermore, the aid package only has $10 billion going to Israel. The other $60 billion will go to Ukraine. And then there's another $30 billion earmarked for Taiwan and the southern border. Now, I don't know if you were keeping score at home, but the amount of times that he brought up Taiwan or the southern border, zero times. Goose egg.
We're going to make sure Iron Dome continues to guard the skies over Israel. We're going to make sure other hostile actors in the region know that Israel is stronger than ever and prevent this conflict from spreading. Look, at the same time, President Netanyahu and I discussed again yesterday the critical need for Israel to operate by the laws of war. That means protecting civilians in combat as best as they can. The people of Gaza urgently need food, water, and medicine. Yesterday, in discussions with the
It sounded like Joe needed water and medicine last night during his speech.
A little parched.
Bro, did it feel pre-recorded to you? It felt pre-recorded to me.
Well, the lack of stumbling and death rattles made it seem like that, yeah.
Good point. There was a lack of death rattles.
Lack of death rattle. I was waiting for it. Cut. Reshoot that, Joe.
Yesterday, in discussions with the leaders of Israel and Egypt, I secured an agreement for the first shipment of humanitarian assistance from the United Nations to Palestinian civilians in Gaza. If Hamas does not divert or steal these shipments, we're going to provide an opening for sustained delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance for the Palestinians.
Okay. This aid to the Palestinians that they're doing just feels like an obvious setup. Okay, so what if we're going to deliver aid to the Palestinians, humanitarian assistance, cool, right? But why would they put such a qualifier on delivering human aid, right? Like, he says, as long as it's not stolen or diverted by Hamas. Okay, so hey, guys, if your stuff gets stolen, you're screwed. That's on you. No more aid. In what world is aid being stolen an adequate reason to totally abandon the people that were supposed to receive it? Does that make any sense to you? It doesn't make any sense to me. That to me was very, very strange. First of all, we all know that aid that does go in there will end up in the hands of Hamas. Like, that's how it works. Hamas is going to get their hands on it, right? The Hamas holes, if you will. They will get the aid. Everybody knows it. It's like an open secret. Hamas is going to steal it. Then the president puts a qualifier on it. Well, if Hamas doesn't steal it, then we're going to provide more aid and life-saving humanitarian assistance. Okay, so we know they're going to steal it. We're still going to send it in, and we're going to add the qualifier that if they don't steal it, we'll do it again. Any of this make sense? Does any of this make sense to anybody? And your great-grandkids are going to pay for it.
If Hamas does not divert or steal these shipments, we're going to provide an opening for sustained delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance for the Palestinians. As I said in Israel, as hard as it is, we cannot give up on peace. We cannot give up on a two-state solution.
Good luck. Good luck, sir. Good luck on the two-state solution. I don't think that is going to happen. As far as not giving up on peace, I feel like the U.S. government gave up on peace. What day was Joe Biden inaugurated?
After that, just downhill.
Honestly, we had peace. We had the Abraham Accords. We had no new wars. Since then, it has been an absolute clown show for the Joe Biden administration. It honestly has. There's no way around it. Joe Biden's time in office sounds a little bit like this.
There are thousands of U.S. citizens, Americans, trapped in Afghanistan.
There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy of the United States from Afghanistan.
Airport in Kabul, at the U.S. Embassy that has now been evacuated.
Embassy in Kabul evacuated.
The jihadists have taken over the Afghani presidential palace. We have abandoned the American embassy in Kabul.
And the president is hiding on vacation. Then he comes back, does a statement for 20 minutes, doesn't take any questions afterwards, runs off the stage, goes back on vacation, only to return from vacation.
So the Senate has just passed the $40 billion Ukraine aid bill. Joe Biden is expected to gleefully sign it very soon.
President Biden announcing an additional $375 million military aid package for Ukraine.
This news breaking. On the anniversary of 9/11, the Biden White House just struck a deal with Iran to do a prisoner swap and release $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds.
Fox News alert, Israel is at war. That's the declaration from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after Palestinian militants launch surprise rocket attacks from Gaza overnight.
What about getting people out? We got people evacuated.
The answer is we're going to get people out, but I'm not going to run any detail with you now.
All right, we got to wrap up, guys. We got to wrap it up.
I mean, he left Israel. He was there. He left without the hostages. And then he gets on TV last night and he sells us a bill of goods like it is our duty to send more money. When he doesn't even have a duty to the Americans over there. It's just ridiculous. You know what really grinded my gears after that speech?
What was that?
Fox News' reaction. Brit Hume. Do you want to know what Brit Hume thought of the speech?
No, what's Britt got to say?
This is the president's second Oval Office address. Your overall thoughts about him tonight?
Well, I think it may be remembered as one of the best, if not the best, speeches of his presidency. He was firm, he was unequivocal, he was strong, as he has been, particularly in recent days before he went to Israel and while he was over there.
Because we're Fox News and we suck.
100%. 919 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Edgar in Hendersonville, I see you want to talk about crime in Nashville. Todd in Goodlettsville, you have something about Alaska. It's an agenda-free Friday. We're going to get to your calls next. Thank you guys for holding. Anything else that you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. It's an agenda-free Friday on the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating and Cooling. I don't know about you, but my house, we've been kicking on the heat in the morning and turning on the AC at the afternoon, and it's been a go. We've been giving our HVAC a run for its money. Now, if you've been giving your HVAC a run for its money and it's not keeping up with the pace you're putting it at right now, well, call Jeff Eddy and his crew at Efficient Heating and Cooling to take a look at it. It can be so hard to find somebody you trust with these large home repairs, and that includes heating and cooling. But Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating and Cooling, they're a small company with big service, and They're honest and hardworking, and they will help you figure out what you need to do to repair or replace your system. That's what Jeff and his crew will do. They'll walk you through every option scenario so that way you can make an informed decision if you're having issues with your HVAC unit. Most of these other companies are just going to pressure you to replace the system because they make more money that way. Jeff Eddy's Efficient HVAC, they care more about making you a happy customer than they do about the bottom line. And if you do need to replace that HVAC unit, well, Efficient offers up to 18 months, same as cash financing on your next unit. They're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric and an elite pro partner with Rheem. Go to efficienthvac.net or call 615-784-4424.
All ears and eyes on our nation's capital, where a third speaker vote is getting ready to get underway. Jim Jordan says he's not going to drop out. And then the Israel-Hamas war Continuing coverage, got an update from Ian Panel on just how many terrorists Israel is going to have to kill in order to take out Hamas. This coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Spoiler alert. All of them. Sorry. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. It's an agenda-free Friday. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Todd in Goodlettsville, you have a story about your son in Alaska. I'm all ears, Todd. You're on Super Talk. What's up?
Hey, Chris, I want to start by saying, hey, glad you're on here. Glad you're a part of this team on WTN. Really appreciate you, man.
Oh, thanks, man. That's super nice.
My son, hey, look, this kid's 23. This is the third time he's been up there. He's up there commercial fishing. He actually was up there for 6 months, came home about a month ago, was here for about a week, hugged his grandma, hugged his dog, seen a couple friends, and he's bored. He's all, man, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. A week later, he got another ticket up there, and he's in Dutch Harbor, Alaska right now, long lining for halibut. And look at that's where they filmed The Deadliest Catch. And I'm just so proud of this kid. You know, he's really outdoorsy. Everybody has their thing. You know, this is yours. Music is mine. And outdoor life and fishing and hunting is his. And this kid's making a great living at it. Look at this. This is the third time he's been up there. He came home the first time, had all this money, bought everything he ever wanted. And I'm all, God, spent all the money. And he went up again.
I love it, man. I love how proud of your son you are. How did he get into that?
Look at this. He just got online. He didn't like the job he was in, got online, started looking at, commercial long line fishing. I spent about a year and a half in Alaska when I was young and about his age and told him how great it was. I mean, an outdoorsman's paradise. And he got online and submitted his thing, and this guy called him, and, that's where it all started. He loves it, man. I'll tell you, I have some responsibilities around here, and I love Tennessee. But, man, something happens, man, nothing's keeping me here.
Hey, man.
You know what I'm saying? If he really makes a go of it, man, he wants to make that life, I might go up there and join that kid in a few years.
Hey, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Thanks for the call, Todd. I really appreciate it.
Have you ever been? Have you ever been to Alaska?
I haven't, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's definitely on the bucket list.
Well, brother, if you ever get a chance, you'd love it. Hey, keep up the good work, man. I love it.
Hey, man, appreciate you. Thanks for holding and telling us that story.
Thank you.
So, Mac, if you I know you're here today, but if you keep missing work, there's always long line fishing in Alaska.
Dude, that is a great story.
Isn't that cool?
That's so cool.
I love that stuff.
I love it.
This is what we do on Agenda Free Friday. Anything you want to talk about, we could talk about. Karen in Lebanon, you have a new word for Joe Biden. Karen, you're on Super Talk. What's up?
Yeah, I do have a new word, a new moniker. So every time I would see his or hear the "it's working," all I could hear in my head was working. So he is Sworking Joe Biden henceforth.
I love it.
So, I don't know. In my opinion, it's not working. So
I think that you are tuned in then, Karen. I think you're paying attention. But be careful. You're starting to sound like a MAGA extremist.
Well, I have my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. So, Amen. You have a great weekend.
Hey, you too. Appreciate it, Karen. It is 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. This is an agenda-free Friday. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. Josh in Wilson County has a comment on Biden. Edgar has a comment on crime in Nashville. Guys, we're going to get to your calls next. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's working.
$9:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, the House is preparing for a third round of voting in the speaker's race with Jim Jordan as the designee.
The fastest way to get to work for the American people is to elect a speaker so the House can be open and we can get things done.
Jordan says voting could go into the weekend. Israel-Hamas war. Ian Panel in Israel.
Israeli Defense Minister promising the troops they'll soon see the Gaza Strip from the inside. With ABC News learning, the Israeli government has given their military the green light to send in ground forces. Now, former head of Shin Bet, Israel's FBI and Security Cabinet member Avi Dichter, telling Hamas and Islamic Jihad have 50,000 fighters combined. contained. And the first and last priority is to demolish and destroy the terror groups, which Israeli intelligence believes are hiding in a series of tunnels.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
One of the big words being thrown around in the investing world right now is this one. You may have heard it. Fiduciary. The idea that the investment advisor has to keep your interest first when they give advice. Now, it's being used in a marketing sense right now, and one of the things that I found fascinating, there was a study by the University of Southern California and Indiana University. They looked at investment advisor portfolios and they found that they were making basic academic mistakes in the management of their own portfolios. And the question that they asked was, if they can't even keep their own best interest first, how are they going to keep your best interest first? That was the question. Now, one of the things that we do at Paul Winkler Inc. is every one of our offices, 10 offices, is run by a degreed planner, number one. But we go way beyond the call of duty when it comes to fiduciary and making sure that we're using academically sound principles in investing. Evidence-based. In other words, a lot of this is backed by Nobel Prize winning research. To learn more about our approach to investing in financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call or call 615-851-1950.
Hey everybody, Dan Mattis with Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I'm here at the Nashville Rescue Mission doing the interviews that I look forward to doing every single year. These are incredible stories of people who have had amazing recoveries. Thanks to this amazing facility, they are able to get clean and lead a more productive life. The date of our annual radiothon is going to be Monday, November 20th. Listen in and please donate. You can get more information at 99.7 WTN, including a link to the website for Nashville's Rescue Mission.
Please don't fake it, fake it, fake it.
And there's something dangerous happening in America now. There's an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs in our democracy. The MAGA movement. I know we have our divisions at home. We have to get past them. We can't let petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way of our responsibility as a great nation.
Please don't fake it, fake it, fake it.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, 937. That was Joe Biden last night saying we got to get past all this division in our country, but that was also him just a few months ago calling the MAGA Republicans extremists. Weird. It's an agenda-free Friday on the show. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about it. 615-737-9986. Josh in Wilson County, you want to talk about Joe Biden. Josh, you're on John, I'm sorry. John, you're on Super Talk. What's up, man?
I just want to say I'm a pissed off deplorable.
Oh, I love it.
You know how we got where we are? We got where we are by letting people vote that have no skin in the game.
Amen.
We need to get back to a platform where people that pay taxes and own property are the ones that pick our representatives. The part that really stands my hair on end is when we get these morons in office and we get in a situation like we are this day and age, we're paying exorbitant taxes trucking off to work every day while we still fund these morons that sit on the couch that voted for this creep.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean,
and one more point. You know, the lefties love these governmental mandates. Why don't we mandate that these morons that voted for this scumbag wear their Biden hats so we know who they are?
Yo, I love it. John, you're coming in hot. You know, I never see a Biden hat. I never see a Biden shirt. And the only time I see a Biden-Harris bumper sticker, it seems like it's a CNN viewer.
You got it, brother. Hey, I'll get off and listen to you guys. Love your show.
Hey, bro, I appreciate you calling in, John. Thanks so much. Whoa. John coming in hot.
Firecracker.
This is
I
what
loved
we
it.
do on Agenda Free Friday.
Yes.
Edgar in Hendersonville, you got a comment on crime in Nashville. What's up, Edgar?
Yes, sir. So it's no surprise to anyone living in the Middle Tennessee area, Davidson County, particularly the metro Nashville area. It's pretty bad. We know about the DAs over there, basically letting people go, giving them easy passes, So I guess I'm wondering if there's anything at the state level or from surrounding agencies, trying to hold Davidson County accountable, for all this crime that spills over county lines. Like, our elected officials, I don't know if there's any kind of plan to kind of try to mitigate for a lot of that crime going on. You have people come on your show a lot of times, representatives, and all that. So I don't know if the question's being asked is what specifically is being done in the Middle Tennessee area to try to curb some of these crime. I mean, a lot of shootings are going up, robberies, carjackings, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of that spills over across county lines. So I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the call, Edgar. It's like one of those things where crime is getting worse everywhere. I think one of the most important things that you can do is get involved locally. Go to your city council meetings, know your state rep, get those phone numbers saved, leave voicemails, be as active as you can be. That would be my biggest suggestion. And one of the things that frustrates me is it doesn't seem like it seems like the most proactive things they do are license plate readers. And I'm like, okay. It's kind of weak.
Did he say he was running for office? Did he say that?
No, everybody's talking about John, the caller before.
The caller before Edgar. Gotcha.
Yeah, John, if you're still listening, we have multiple texts on the super text line saying we would vote for John if he ran for office.
Yeah.
Is John running for office? Where do I donate? Totally agree with John. John is Uber based, is what you've been called, John. So thanks for calling in. John was based.
Yes, he was.
I like John a lot. Some 4209 said, I saw a Biden bumper sticker hanging from a bumper hanging by a bungee cord. Wasn't surprised. Yeah, you probably saw that bumper sticker hanging off a bumper, which was hanging off a car and said, oh, yep, checks out.
That makes sense.
Checks out. David in Gallatin, you have a comment on Walmart. What is it? Walmart?
Wolverine.
Walmart Wolverine.
Walmart Wolverine. Yeah, so I'm the only guy in Tennessee that entered or that got as far in the USA Mullet Championship.
Oh, congratulations.
I ranked number 2 in the nation, and I know Jane Mandis put it on his Facebook page, but talk about, politics and supporting people, and I kind of just want to do a shout out to anyone listening that voted for me. It got me this far. But it's the community around, and it's people like talking that, they call in. It's the people that get the community to rally to get stuff to change, and I couldn't have done this without the people of Tennessee,
Hey,
I
man.
just want to say thanks, and I love your show and all that. So.
Hey, I appreciate you, Gal. I appreciate you, David, and congratulations on your rad mullet, man. That's sweet.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I dig it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Keep it rad.
All right, will do. Thanks for the call. Mullets.
Nice.
I have asked my wife to let me give my boys mullets on numerous occasions.
Oh, come on.
Numerous occasions.
Not get the A-OK, not get the green light on that.
I feel like Jim Jordan because I'm going to keep going back to the floor for a vote on this. And I don't know if I'm going to get the results I want, but dang it, I'm going to fight the good fight.
Yeah. I love it.
I do. Do we have any updates on Jimmy? Old Jimmy boys? Are they voting yet?
I think it's
doing?
10, so we've got about 17 minutes till they start, but it looks like they are gathering on the floor. They're getting ready, getting seated, talking amongst each other. Hopefully he's garnered those 20.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
Have you heard what's going on? Yesterday, apparently things almost got physical with House Republicans. They were screaming at Matt Gaetz, and it was reported that he almost got in a physical altercation. Anna Paulina Luna, fellow Florida rep for Matt Gaetz, said someone tried to fight Gaetz in conference.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
lovely.
It's also at one point, McCarthy apparently told him to sit down, and he said, "Kevin, you sit down. We fired you."
Oh my gosh.
So good. It's so good. I'm here for it. I think you're seeing like the special interests in DC realizing that they're losing a grip on the GOP, and they're just holding on for dear life. For dear life. Because we know Jim Jordan is not a fan of Ukraine funding, and they're trying to send a bill now where it's going to send $60 billion to Ukraine. Crazy. But it's definitely interesting. Matt Gaetz did have a reaction to Jim Jordan re-entering the race. This is him yesterday after that news broke.
Congressman, is the resolution to empower McHenry dead at this point?
Yeah, it won't be offered by Republicans based on Speaker-designate Jordan's announcement just moments ago, and I think that's a good thing. The House of Representatives needs a speaker, not a speaker light. I don't support using temporary powers for Mr. McHenry, and I'm glad that our arguments seem to be persuasive to our colleagues.
But Jordan seemed to back this as his next strategy to give himself the time to cobble together more votes. I mean, this is something he's backed.
Well, I like Jim Jordan. I'm voting for Jim Jordan, but I don't agree with him on every subject. And I certainly don't agree that what would be best for the House of Representatives is a temporary speaker pro tem. I think we need to elect a speaker. I think we've got great folks in our conference. I think Jim Jordan sits atop that list, and I look forward to voting for him again today.
And one last question for you, because we are live here right now. How icy was it for you in that room? I heard it got pretty intense.
Yeah, it got a little intense. There was almost physical altercations. Matt Gaetz wasn't flustered.
Well, I'm not for everyone, as it turns out, and I have my detractors, but I'm an attorney by trade. I don't get emotional about the presentation of arguments and listening to other people's arguments. It doesn't affect how I think about people. I was there to make the substantive argument that Speaker Light is a bad idea, just like Bud Light. But I far prefer us to continue having votes going forward. And, you know, when I held out with Speaker McCarthy, we had goals. We had specific things we were fighting for. I think a reasonable question to those that are holding out and not voting for Jordan is, what are you fighting for?
What are you fighting for? I think that's one of the best points that Matt Gaetz made. The holdouts are just holding out. When Matt Gaetz held out against McCarthy, he had a list of goals and rules that he wanted to implement. These guys now, they're just holding out. Nobody really has an understanding why. They don't like Jim Jordan. Okay. Again, Washington, D.C. is being shaken up. And I think the only reason that everything seems like it's chaotic is because the special interests aren't in control anymore. And they're mad. They're big mad. But it's fun. Are you enjoying it? I wouldn't want it any other way. 615-737-9986 if you want to jump in. It's an agenda-free Friday. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. 9058 said, I bet that's why the 20 didn't vote Gates. Didn't vote because Gates voted for Jordan. Yeah, there are reports coming out that most of the holdouts are holding out because they want to spite Gates. The Daily Caller had that story as well. Republicans voting against Jordan are doing it to spite Matt Gaetz. So, little crybabies.
Come on, man.
Let's go.
Childish.
I mean, do you expect anything more out of them?
I guess not.
I mean, it's just a ridiculous clown show. 7333 said Gates will be sued by Bud Light now. LOL. I feel like that would be a badge of honor.
Yes.
It's better than going the other route, which is what Travis Kelce did and just signing an endorsement deal.
What a ridiculous clown show.
Yep.
Yep.
You don't have any comment on the Travis Kelce Bud Light endorsement? Okay. Thank you. All right. 6024 texted in. He said, oil's over $90 a barrel, gold over $2,000, and it's just the beginning due to the stupidity of the American voter. Yep. Makes sense. 9751 says, which special interest groups do you think are losing influence? I think it's the military-industrial complex, these forever wars. In fact, last night during Joe Biden's speech, he basically, on live TV, explained how the military-industrial complex makes their money.
We send Ukrainian equipment sitting in our stockpiles. And when we use the money allocated by Congress, we use it to replenish our own stores, our own stockpiles, with new equipment. Equipment that defends America and is made in America. Patriot missiles for air defense batteries, made in Arizona. Artillery shells manufactured in 12 states across the country, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and so much more.
So we have to keep funding forever wars because the missiles are made in Arizona, and we got to get them checks over to Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, you know? Did you see the text from 1326? He says, hey, fellas, so what's up with Biden's chin? Best I can do for you, 1326, is hit you with a Mike Pence. That's all I can do.
I don't know.
We don't know. I did see somebody take the picture of Biden's weird-looking chin, turn it sideways, and put it over the Biden logo. Replace the B.
Yes.
It's pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, what? I mean, it is a little, I don't know what's going on. His chin didn't always used to be like that, right?
No, I don't know. And he had even last night, he had like that weird indent thing going on.
No, and it's not like a normal cleft chin. This is not a normal.
No, everybody on the internet's like, he's wearing a mask. It's an actor. And I just, listen, I hear what you're saying. But again, I go back to the same thing with Fetterman. It's like, if you're going to put a mask on somebody to pretend to be Joe Biden, maybe get somebody that can talk. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to have somebody pretend to be Joe Biden's, like, don't pretend that good, bro.
Really good actor. Really good actor,
they
bro.
pretended really good. Also, 1354 chimed in. He said, Congress is bad when 12-year-old Mac Morey says they're immature. LOL.
Fair. 14, okay?
Mac is 14. Mac is old enough to vote. And, yeah. Mac knows how to vote.
Damn straight.
All right, 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Agenda-free Friday. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. Call me, 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Speaker vote underway. And 50,000 terrorists to kill in Israel, at least. Details at 10 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Please don't fake it.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic process. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
That was a suggestion from 6024. He said if there's ever a speech the USA voters should listen to, it's former President Eisenhower's farewell address on the military-industrial complex. What a prophet. Everything he said came true. Hard to argue with him. If you haven't heard that whole speech from Eisenhower, it's on YouTube. It's his farewell address to the military and addresses the military-industrial complex. Worth a listen. You can find it on YouTube. It's an agenda-free Friday. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. 615-737-9986. My name is Chris Hand, and Ken Weaver's got the latest headlines for you right now.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, the third round of speaker voting is imminent. Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy just stood up and endorsed Jim Jordan as, quote, the right person for speaker. This morning, Jim Jordan telling a news conference he's not dropping out. Meanwhile, Democrats are using the chaos against the GOP.
At every step of the way, Republicans have rejected bipartisanship and embraced extremism.
As Democrat House Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Israel-Hamas war continuing coverage. Derek Dennis reports.
A major funding request for Congress from President Biden asking for $14 billion in aid for Israel against Hamas and another $60 billion for Ukraine in its fight against Russia. That as new Israeli airstrikes hit Gaza this morning, while the militant group Hezbollah has fired rockets back into Israel.
These missile launches come as the U.S. is bolstering its firepower in the region, a second carrier strike group soon joining U.S. warships already in the Mediterranean, and additional fighter aircraft also being sent, all meant as a deterrent. The Houthi rebel leader had just warned the U.S. last week against intervening in the Hamas-Israeli conflict, threatening missile and drone strikes.
ABC's Martha Raddatz. Meantime, truckloads of humanitarian aid being held up at the Gaza border with Egypt. Roads need to be repaired, and many believe an Israeli ground invasion into Gaza is imminent.
Now, it is estimated that there are 50,000 Hamas and Islamic Jihad fighters combined in Gaza. Money news in the housing market. New numbers showing sales of existing homes fell again last month. That's as high mortgage rates take a toll. Here's Elizabeth Schulze.
Home sales dropped 2% in September, marking the slowest monthly pace of sales since October 2010 during the foreclosure crisis. Now, a key reason for this slowdown is those mortgage rates at a 23-year high. That's making it a lot more expensive to buy a new home. With the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage now at 8%, a $400,000 home loan costs you $1,000 more every month today than it did 2 years ago when rates were at 3%.
Yeah, here in Nashville, News 2 cited a report from RE/MAX that the average home sits on the market 31 days now compared to 22 days last year in Nashville. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Specifically regarding precision ag, this is a movement or an initiative that Pheasants and Quail Feather is taking on where we can help farmers take advantage of the data they collect and during harvest, during planting season, and use that to identify areas in the field that are underproducing for whatever reason. Maybe it's shade, water, there's perennial wet spots, odd areas that are just hard to farm. Farm equipment's getting big now, and it's hard to farm some of these smaller areas. And so these areas that the yield isn't high enough to exceed the input costs, we're losing money on those acres. So are there some alternate land use covers, wildlife covers that we can use and put on the ground that benefit wildlife but also benefit the bottom line? There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of conservation programs and conservation practices out there that can benefit the land, and they require management. And so some people might be familiar with the Conservation Reserve Program, or CRP. And that is a program administered by USDA for farmers and landowners to take those certain areas out of production, return them to a wildlife cover beneficial to different wildlife.
We started taking non-productive acres years ago and putting them in CRP, and seeing a great benefit of that, not only for wildlife, but erosion control and the money side of it. You know, we have to make a living to stay in business just like everybody else. You know, if you've got non-productive acres that you're losing money on, and you can get something out of them, plus benefit the soil from erosion, plus benefit the wildlife.
.05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I played a minute ago. We had a suggestion for from 6024. It said if there's ever a speech the USA voter needs to listen to, it's President Eisenhower's speech on the military-industrial complex. So I played a clip of it, and in the spirit of Agenda Free Friday, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. 615-737-9986. And Pete, who's out there driving a truck, he's got a comment about President Eisenhower. So, Pete, what's up, man? You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Pete?
Well, it's not about President Eisenhower. It's about what Nikita Khrushchev, the prime minister of Russia, told him in 1956.
Tell me, sir.
That communism will take over the United States and never fire a shot. And we are headed that way with this administration.
Hey, I can't argue with you. It's there was a KGB agent by the name of Yuri Bezmenov. He said he was a KGB agent at least, and he talked about that as well, about the demoralization, destabilization, chaos, and normalcy, and that's how they were going to use it to take over.
And that's what we've got going.
Yep, absolutely.
And I would like to know how the Senate, especially Pelosi, managed to vote to get a $250,000 a year raise without us getting to vote on it.
Well, I think that they work hard and they deserve it.
No, I don't.
I'm obviously kidding. Obviously
the
kidding.
left works, the liberals work hard to destroy us, yes. I'll agree with that part.
Yep. No, it's crazy, man. They'll vote for themselves for raises every chance they get.
Yeah, I know.
It's so sad.
And
hey,
we don't get to vote for them.
No, I wouldn't vote for them for a raise. I would vote the other way. Let's give them a pay cut.
Bring them back to $35,000 a year like it used to be.
Amen. And then they can do their service and get out of office, and we won't have these career politicians.
Exactly.
Hey, I appreciate your call. I appreciate you listening, Pete. Thanks so much. You know, it's what does a congressperson make? It's like a couple $100K a year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
We did some napkin math because Dianne Feinstein had when she passed away like $150 million net worth. So if she was in Congress for what, 30 years? So if you're making a couple $100K a year and you put it in a good savings account with like a good interest rate, sky's the limit that, with that interest working in your favor.
Of course.
You'll have $150 million in the bank, too. Just got to find a credit union or something.
So it looks like if you're in Congress or senator or whatever, you're making 174. And then if you're like in leadership, like a minority or majority party leader, you're like at 190. If you're Speaker of the House, 223. So Jim Jordan going for a big pay raise today.
Oh.
Big pay raise. Good for him.
It's
actually kind of nuts. It's literally $50K more.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
That's substantial.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and then you get all the insider trading tips too.
Oh yeah, of course.
So that's a boon. Gosh. As the Speaker of the House, I mean, they're voting now. They're voting right now.
Yep, they're voting right now.
What's the score?
13 for Jordan, 8 for Hakeem Jeffries, 1 other.
Ooh, all right.
Early on here, yep.
And if there's 5 that are against him in the other or the no category, then he's done.
GG's, yep.
But then here's the thing. This is how they waste our tax money in Congress. They'll keep the vote going even though they know he's not going to win.
Yes.
It's like
I
running out.
think that too.
They run out the clock. It's like, stop, guys. This isn't football. Stop running out the clock. It's ridiculous. It's like just move on if you can't get the votes. But everybody's so mad about all these neocons and uniparties, and I know people love it when I say uniparty. Republicans are mad that Kevin McCarthy was ousted, but I mean, you look at the polling. There was a CBS News poll that found 54% of Americans who identify as conservative approve of McCarthy being booted from his job as Speaker. 60% of adults in the U.S. backed the removal. The survey also noted that among those Americans who supported his ouster, 75% agree with the sentiment that McCarthy wasn't effective, and I think that's why we're where we are right now. McCarthy wasn't effective. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens. It's an agenda-free Friday. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. 615-737-9986. There's a story coming out of a Tennessee elementary school that is just wild. Have you seen this?
Possibly.
It's in the Chattanooga area.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. These 2 folks with hashtag not my president haircuts. If you see the haircuts, these they thems, it would have been a red flag right away. So this is how Breitbart reports the story. Queer teacher couple busted in prostitution sting investigation. A pair of queer Tennessee elementary school teachers were busted for prostitution in an undercover investigation, complaining they would starve without extra income. I had to sell my body. I would have starved. Terrible. Ezra Fry, a 22-year-old who identifies this. I'm not making this up, okay? Ezra Fry, a 22-year-old who identifies as a rabid, like rabies, rabid queer, gender anarchist, college dropout on Instagram. Dude, I don't know. Like, even like, yo, why would you put that on Instagram? Isn't that a little bit of a stretch? Like, and you work at a school, and you're a college dropout. How did they get a job as a teacher at school?
Yeah,
anyway.
I thought you had to have a degree.
I guess not. So Ezra Fry, the rabid queer gender anarchist college dropout, uses they them pronouns, and he was caught alongside, and this is how the other one identifies. This is not me. A trans disabled queer Puerto Rican ex-ed teacher.
Ex-ed?
Ex-ed. I don't know what that means. I don't know what a lot of this stuff means.
Yeah.
I could Google it, but like I just worry about the horror show that may come up. David Azevedo, that was the other one. 25. They were basically caught in August after becoming a target of a police sting operation. As reported by the New York Post, the two teachers are a couple, and they both work for Hamilton County Schools as substitute teachers within the Woodmore and Calvin Donaldson elementary schools. They were caught after an officer posing as a John connected with Fry on an illicit prostitution website, reported ABC 9 out of Chattanooga. Citing the police report, the investigation carried out by Chattanooga Police Narcotics and Vice detectives uncovered that Fry was willing to perform sex acts for $150. Fry allegedly told the fake John that while the pair will usually go to a client's home, it was safer for the buyer to come to their home because their partner would be there, and it was supposedly the John's first time. When the undercover detective arrived at the teacher's home, Fry allegedly led him to a bedroom, took his money, and then was surprised by the John revealing his identity as a police officer. After this couple was detained, they both made statements during and after the search to include both stating that they have to do this or they will starve. Both parties advised officers that they are special education teachers at Woodmore Elementary and Calvin Donaldson Elementary. During an encounter with the officer, Fry stated, "I don't care. Everyone has seen my private parts." No big deal. Just some substitute teachers busted for prostitution. What did they describe themselves as? Rabid genderqueer, gender anarchist college dropout, and a trans disabled queer Puerto Rican ex-ed teacher. You know the old saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover." If you see a picture of these two folks and they are your substitute teachers, I would advise the school district to judge the books by the cover. Is that okay? Like I know, but I would judge those books. Chris in Nashville, you have a comment on the teachers. You're on Super Talk. What's up, Chris?
Yes, sir. I taught in Metro for 30 years. It's hard to get subs. I don't know if it's that hard. In Metro, you just have to have 2 years of college. In some of the counties, you only have to have a high school diploma to be a substitute teacher.
Interesting. Okay.
So maybe they should raise that bar a little.
Yeah, maybe they should raise the bar. So you do believe that this rabid queer gender anarchist was a college dropout? I bet that lines up.
Yeah. But you didn't. That's okay. You can still be a sub.
Okay. That's interesting. Appreciate the info, Chris. Thank you so much.
Raise the bar, but I mean, raise the money. That's how you're really going to raise.
Well,
your qualification.
They said themselves they would starve if they weren't prostituting. So they weren't making enough. They weren't making enough money to not starve. Although, if you look at these two individuals, they don't look like they're starving. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't look at either of them and say like, "Oh my gosh, let's get you some food."
32 to 44K a year
for a sub
in Tennessee. It looks like.
I mean, you don't have to prostitute then. Like you get like a server job.
Yeah, go wait tables.
Like a lot of openings. A spokesperson for Hamilton County Schools, who is reportedly employed by Education Management and Staffing Solutions, said that Fry was already facing a backlash for an incident earlier this year for being out as a transgender at school. Those claims arose after a photo of them standing in a school hallway wearing a dress and dyed pink hair made the rounds on social media. "I'm a non-binary person, and I keep my gender out of my job," the disgraced teacher told the Chattanooga Times in April. "Obviously, this whole thing has blown up because people think I am." Are you really keeping your gender out of your job if you're a man showing up wearing a dress? I don't know. This is public schools. This is public schools for you. Scary. Absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Sally texted in. She said, "Thanks, Chris. Now I have to throw this hot dog away." I'm sorry for ruining your lunch, Sally.
Yeah, well, don't look up the article. That'll really keep your appetite away.
Yeah. Just 9495 said, see, teachers' pay is way too low. Yep. Yikes. That's what's happening in our school districts. Don't judge a book by its cover unless, you could just tell. Unreal. Woo. I don't know how to pivot out of that story. I don't know. In other news, Trump leads Biden in swing state polls. Have you seen this? Trump is up. He leads Biden 47-43 in a swing state poll. Just 26% of swing state voters said the economy has improved under Biden's term. Poll was conducted by Bloomberg News and Morning Consult and found that voters in 7 swing states favor Donald Trump over Joe Biden in a hypothetical matchup by 4%. Among those surveyed, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The current president or resident, however you want to say it, Joe Biden received just 43% support. Trump had 47%. According to the poll, the 4% lead is seen both in the head-to-head matchup between the two, as well as on ballots that include Trump, Biden, and Green, Libertarian, and No Label candidates. So everybody's saying that RFK is going to steal numbers from the Republicans. It doesn't show that in the new polling. And I don't know, guys. It doesn't seem like RFK is going to be gaining much momentum as things go on. Did you see what he just said the other day? He went on record saying we must set federal dollars aside for reparations. That's what RFK Jr. said. Post Millennial has this story. Presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who recently announced his run as an independent, has come out in support of giving taxpayer-funded reparations. Joe Biden has largely remained mum on the issue, which has created frustration for members of the left. I mean, if RFK steals numbers from anybody, I think he's going to steal them from Democrats. That doesn't mean that what I've said about RFK in the past, I don't believe. I do think he's authentically himself. I think he's gained a lot of support because of his anti-vaccine stance, but it doesn't mean he doesn't believe some crazy things. He does believe crazy things. I mean, reparations. If you vote RFK for president, you're going to get drilling bans, fracking bans, nuclear bans, nuclear, however people want me to say it. I'm going to get yelled at either way. Green subsidies, reparations, gun control, abortions, high taxes. He'll fund the WHO. He'll increase visas. He'll amnesty birthright citizenship. That's RFK Jr. Doesn't mean he's not authentic. I do believe he believes all those things. But if you vote for him, you'd probably feel vindicated about the vaccines. That's the cost risk analysis. 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTM. My name is Chris Hand. Linda wants to talk about communists. James in the borough has a feel-good story for us. We'll get to your calls next, guys. Hang out with us. It's the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Looks like they'll be heading to round 4 in the speaker's race. And Tom Rivers reports from the growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. These stories and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is an agenda-free Friday on the Chris Hand Show. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. 615-737-9986. Linda on line 1 wants to talk about communists. What's up, Linda? What's your take on commies?
Well, I was interested in what the gentleman prior had to say about how the communists taking over. And if anyone is truly interested in the direction that our country is going, all they need to do is get on the internet, go to the congressional record, and it was in January or February of 1963 that they published the outline for what the Communist Party planned to do and how they planned to take over. They had 43 points that they would use. It covers everything from our schools, universities, corporations, the media, the newspapers, and I mean to tell you, they have done it down pat. And it's a shame that none of our congressional leaders or president since that time has bothered to take a look at it and repeat the warning so that the people would know what the communists plan. That's my comment. All they have to do is look it up. Don't be lazy. Be interested in the direction your country is going, and hopefully, hope to God it's not too late to correct it.
Hey, I really appreciate the call, Linda, and thank you for the info. Everybody should be doing their own research on this. I totally agree. You are responsible for your own education on these topics. James in Murfreesboro on this agenda-free Friday. You have a feel-good story for us. What's up, James? You're on Super Talk.
Good morning, Chris. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I just want to let you know, I know you live in the borough.
Yes, sir.
Did you realize that the SRO program, for officers in schools is in its 30th year this year for Rutherford County?
Amen. I love it. That is a feel-good story.
And tonight at Siegel High School, before the football game between Siegel and Riverdale, they are honoring the SRO program in Rutherford County, plus they are honoring the first 5 SROs that started in 1993.
That is cool. That is very cool. Where is that? You said Siegel High School tonight?
Yeah, between Siegel High and Riverdale, and just before the game, they're going to honor the SRO program with former Sheriff Truman Jones, and that they're going to honor the first 5 SROs.
Man, I love it. Thanks for the call, James. I appreciate that. That is a feel-good story. They say that they can't get them staffed in Nashville. They don't have the staffing, but Rutherford County's been doing it for 30 years. I didn't know that. I was today years old when I found that out. I like that. I like that a lot. It's an agenda-free Friday. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. 615-737-9986. Mac, what is the current score on the Speaker of the House race?
Got 97 for Hakeem Jeffries, 95 for Jordan, 15 votes for others. So Jordan's not going to get the votes this time.
So he doesn't have the votes.
Yep.
But they're going to stay on the floor and continue to waste everyone's time. Is that what we're getting at?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
This is why they get paid a couple $100K a year. Guys like me and you would have been like, yeah, we're going to bounce.
Yeah, we're beasing. Yeah.
I'm going to go get a coffee. I'm out.
Exactly, dude.
Call me for the next one, bro. I'm not going to hang out and let you know if I'm a yay or a nay at this point because
it don't matter.
Nothing is going to happen. Like everything, it seems like nothing happens until it all happens at once. Am I right? It's unreal. They're just going to sit there and go through the roll call and get everybody to tally that up, even though nothing is happening. Good. It's good use of taxpayer money.
Well, there's zero chance Jeffries wins, right? Like, that's not a thing.
No, that's not going to be.
Yeah, it's not a thing. Yeah.
Election denier, Hakeem Jeffries.
Yes.
Yeah. He denies election results. So that's a no-no. You don't do that.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You can't. It's a threat to our democracy. It's the last thing we want to do.
I know that's why I can't remember which representative, but one of the 20, that's why they're not voting for Jordan.
Because he's a threat to our democracy.
Because he wants him to admit that the election wasn't stolen. Yeah.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi yesterday said that Jim Jordan is appalling to our democracy as her homegirl Rashida Tlaib led a Palestinian insurrection
Her homegirl.
That's her homegirl.
That's her homegirl.
10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver's got the news.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in our nation's capital, a third vote for House Speaker underway, and Jim Jordan does not appear to have the votes again. Democrats encouraging the chaos, lining up behind their leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
We recognize that Jim Jordan is a clear and present danger to the American people. And we are going to be here for as long as it takes to end this national nightmare.
Israel-Hamas war continuing coverage. Tom Rivers reports on the growing humanitarian crisis.
Examining firsthand the scene at the Rafah border crossing, Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
It is impossible to be here and not to feel a broken heart.
As to the line of 18-wheelers not moving,
they are a lifeline. They are the difference between life and death for so many people in Gaza.
The UN, he says, is now actively engaged with all parties to clarify conditions to get the vehicles rolling.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
One of the big words being thrown around in the investing world right now is this one. You may have heard it. Fiduciary. The idea that the investment advisor has to keep your interest first when they give advice. Now, it's being used in a marketing sense right now, and one of the things that I found fascinating, there was a study by the University of Southern California and Indiana University. They looked at investment advisor portfolios, and they found that they were making basic academic mistakes in the management of their own portfolios. And the question that they asked was, if they can't even keep their own best interest first, how are they going to keep your best interest first? That was the question. Now, one of the things that we do at Paul Winkler Inc. is every one of our offices, 10 offices, is run by a degreed planner, number one. But we go way beyond the call of duty when it comes to fiduciary and making sure that we're using academically sound principles in investing. Evidence-based. In other words, a lot of this is backed by Nobel Prize winning research. To learn more about our approach to investing in financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call or call 615-851-1950.
Hey, it's Chris Hand for the guys at Paul Winkler Inc. When I got to this gig and I got to link up with Paul, I was so excited because me and my wife didn't have a financial plan for the future. But after meeting with Paul and talking with him, we do now, and we can envision paying for weddings and college down the road for any of my kids that want them. Now, because Paul and his team hold themselves to a higher level of fiduciary standard than is required, I got to tell you that I'm paid every time this commercial airs, and that's the truth. But it's not because I'm paid to say these commercials and say nice things that I became a client of Paul's. I became a client of Paul's because his education level is unmatched, and he can break down the financial world for a guy like me to understand. Now, the investment education they provide is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. If you don't have a financial plan for you and your family, well, you should link up with Paul Winkler, Inc., because every office is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years of experience, and you can feel the difference between Paul's team and the rest because that experience equals confidence. So do what I did. Talk to one of his team members today by setting up a complimentary 15-minute phone call right now on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com, or call 615-851-1950.
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. This is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards.
That was Yuri Bezmenov. If you've never seen it, he's a KGB defector. He did this interview in the 80s where he talks about this active measures, which is infiltrating communism into American society. And basically he was saying, yeah, we already did it. Already did it. And to our, we talked about communists a little bit. One of our last callers said, communists will take over without firing a single shot. Well, if you've never seen Yuri Bezmenov, the interview is wild. That was like the quickest, Instagram reel version I could find for you for the air because it's about an hour and a half. Definitely worth the watch if you have time over the weekend. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. It's an agenda-free Friday. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. And I see Mark online, too, is fired up. And Mark, I had to go to you first because you're fired up. What's up, Mark?
Man, I'm going crazy. First of all, I love the show, but there must be some drug that they're giving the Democrats to be able to get them all together lockstep in a singular brain mind. Whatever that drug is, we got to get it to the Republicans to wake them up to the fact that we're going insane listening to Democrats. Please.
I think it's just cocaine, Mark.
Oh, a massive amount. It's got to be massive. That's what they're bringing over the border. They're bringing it over for the Democrats. Oh, my God, I didn't think about it.
I mean, we're finding it in the White House, Mark. With I know they don't know whose it was, but I think it was just a stash for everyone.
Oh, Lord, man. Hey, I love you guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for the call. Mark was fired up. I like that.
Love it.
615-737-9986. If you got something you want to talk about, it's an agenda-free Friday. Chris, you got a comment on Speaker of the House. You're on Super Talk. What's up, Chris?
Yes, sir. So why not we figure out a way to start cutting their pay up there? I mean, if they ain't wanting to work, hell, I drive a truck and I work every day of the week. Why not we cut them where it hurts? Cut them at their bank. Then it make them actually do their job.
Hey, I totally agree.
Fire under them.
I don't think that it'll ever happen. They would have to vote on it.
See, and that's the problem. See, I was prior service. I was in the Navy from 2012 to 2017.
Thanks for your
service. I went through where the government shut down. Thank you, sir. I went through a government shutdown. I went without pay. Granted, yes, at the end we did get we did get paid, but in the meantime we had to figure it out. So there's got to be a way that they can get together, figure out something, because something's got to happen.
Hey, I totally agree with you. I don't think that there's any hope of something happening. I mean, there was a Republican senator. His name is James Lankford. He reintroduced a plan to end government shutdowns by making lawmakers work 7 days a week until spending bills are passed. He's a Republican out of Oklahoma. He co-sponsored the bill with New Hampshire Democrat Senator Maggie Hassan. It's another thing that's never going to pass, but there are some good people in the government trying to do something. But I don't know, man. I don't have much hope. Do you have much hope?
I mean, I'm as much hope as I can have. I mean, I appreciate the ones that are wanting to stay up there and work and, try and come to an agreement on something. I mean, we were close. We had 200.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could just all kind of figure out a way to get the ones that are straggling, that are putting one vote towards one and, 2 votes towards another, I mean, something's got to happen.
Something does got to happen. It's like we're waiting for another shoe to drop. I've felt like this for like months now. It's like we're waiting for something big to come, but we'll see what happens. I appreciate the call, Chris. Thanks so much. As we're waiting to see what happens here on the floor, I think it's so funny that you have 20 Republicans holding this thing up, it seems like, and when McCarthy got ousted, Newt Gingrich is like, oh, a small percentage of the Republican Party took it hostage. Now we have a small percentage of the Republican Party taking it hostage.
And we had a text from 4460 saying there was only you only need 214 votes today, and I did go verify that. That's true. There's some members not there today, so the magic number 214 today, not 217.
Okay. Are we going to get to the magic number?
Jordan will not. Looks like.
Looks like no.
Definitely no.
David in Pleasant View, you have a rant. David, that gets you to the front of the line. What's up? You're on Super Talk, David.
Man, a couple of them, really. I agree with something you said a while back. They should do it like they pick a pope, Got to go in there and you don't come out until you pick it.
Hey,
and other than that, I agreed with the guy that was talking about, hitting them in their pocket. Stop paying your taxes. They'll get their attention real quick.
That's a movement I could get behind.
At the same time, it gets you in trouble at the same time, but
that's good trouble, right?
Yeah. Good trouble.
I appreciate the call, David. Thanks so much, man. Kenny in Brentwood, you have a comment on speaker chaos. What's up, Kenny? You're on Super Talk.
Yeah, Gates and those other idiots might have wanted to consider what happens next before they decided to join every single Democrat in doing what the Democrats wanted. When 212 Democrats vote in lockstep for something, the chances of it being good for the country or the Republican Party are pretty darn slim.
Yeah, I mean, I like Matt Gaetz, and I don't like Kevin McCarthy, so I don't know. I'm probably not the guy that's going to agree with that. I think it was great getting rid of McCarthy, and even this chaos that we have here, to play devil's advocate, it's like, well, at least we're not sending that money over right now. We could be sending billions overseas. I want to get Jim Jordan in there. I want to get it done, but I'm not disappointed that Matt Gaetz stood on principle.
Well, Matt Gaetz stood on principle without a plan. You can stand on principle, but you've got to have a plan. He didn't have a plan. Now we got chaos, and all this does is make it look like the Republicans can't govern, which, of course, that's because the Republicans can't govern. And that makes it more likely that we get 4 more years of the Democrats destroying this country.
Yeah, but I mean, but Kenny, if we left those same guys in charge, they don't do anything anyway. When Trump got into the White House, they had the House, they had the Senate, they had everything, and they didn't do anything. It's those old school neocons that are in charge that aren't doing anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if they had the power, they're not going to do anything for us.
No, they're worthless. They're worthless, but the Democrats are dangerous.
Fair enough.
And at this point, given what the Democratic Party stands for, it is an existential threat to the survival of this republic. And you go to war with the army you got. Unfortunately, the army we got is the Republican Party. Our army sucks. I admit it. But it is the only army we have up against that other side, and that other side must be defeated.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like that old school neocon Republican is just a liberal going the speed limit. You know what I mean? So it's just we would have gotten the same thing, just slower.
I don't think that's true. It's there are enormous differences between the parties. Now, both parties suck, but there are enormous differences.
Yeah,
the Democratic Party is devoted to the destruction of our republic. Republican Party may be stupid as hell, but they aren't actively trying to destroy the republic.
Yeah, but they're not actively trying to protect it.
Well, I agree with that. But there is a difference between actively trying to destroy it and then just being totally incompetent. And the Democrats must be stopped. I am against anything that impedes our ability or anyone's ability to stop the Democrats. And what Gates did is not helpful in stopping the Democrats. The Democrats represent a threat that the Republicans do not. I'm not a fan of the Republicans. I can't stand them, to be honest with you. But they are not the Democrats.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, a little chaos is a good thing. I don't know. We can agree to disagree on this one, Kenny. I do appreciate your call, and I appreciate your opinion.
Thanks.
Hey, man. Have a good one. Mario on line 1, you have a comment on Gates's plan. Mario, you're on Super Talk. What's up?
Yes, I do. The man had a plan, and it's not just him. He is just right now the one that is representing. The plan was to get McCarthy out, okay? The plan it wasn't just to get him out. It's to stop getting people in that goes along to get along and keeps on passing all those bills. The plan is to put in people that is going to be like us, that is going to do what we say we would do. And right now, you are getting exactly that. You're getting to see how the swamp is hard, deep, and wide, and it's hard to kill. That's what those 20 that are opponents, that's them. They're getting their kickbacks. Their kickbacks, that's them. That's the swamp. We need to get rid of them. We need to stay strong.
Totally. And out of those 20, a bunch of them are from New York and a bunch of them are from California. And everybody's mad at the 8 that voted to oust McCarthy. But those guys are all lining up to vote for Jim Jordan. It's these establishment hacks that are holding this thing up.
Right. Look at that. It's Scalise from Louisiana. He's the one that is heading the opposition. He's everywhere. It's not just in New York. He can be in red states. They infiltrated, and it's hard to get rid of them, and we just got to be strong. And those people that they picked the wrong time. No, when is going to be the right time? When it's no longer possible? No, we need to stay strong. We need to unite.
Amen. I'm with you, Mario. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much, man. I totally agree. It's time to dig your heels in. I said this yesterday when Jordan said he was going to, let McHenry be speaker till January. That's weak. At least McCarthy went, round for round until he got his way. Stay in there as long as it takes. Go all weekend if you have to. Let's get this thing done. Doesn't look like it's going to get done this round, though. Doesn't look like he has the votes. Well, run it back. Let's do it again. Like what? Let's see if we can beat the high score of 15 rounds if we have to. I'm all for that. Who are the people holding this up? It's the establishment. Rep Jim Banks says that another rep, Kay Granger. So Kay Granger's from Texas. Jim Banks from Indiana. He says, Jim Banks says that Kay Granger is one of the ones holding this up and that she should lose her appropriations gavel because she's blocking Jim Jordan. Kay Granger doesn't deserve to be chairwoman of the Appropriations Committee, Banks told Breitbart News. She's blocking the most fiscally conservative choice we've ever had to be Speaker of the House, and she should lose her gavel for that. Granger was first elected to the House. This lady is 80 years old. She was first elected to the House in 1996 and has been the top Republican appropriator since 2019. Banks points out that the 8 members of that powerful committee, which allocates federal spending, voted against the fiscally conservative Jordan. He says these are big spending Republicans who are responsible for going along with the Democrats to put us in the place where we are. $2 trillion deficits, $33 trillion national debt. Banks blames Granger for the committee's disproportionate disapproval of the GOP nominee. This is what he says. She is leading a bunch of members on her committee to block the conservative and the majority's choice to be the Speaker of the House, and it's totally shameful. I'll add, overwhelming majority of Americans would love Jim Jordan in there. Banks goes on, I hope every Republican voter in their districts wake up and vote against them in the primary. Granger supports empowering Speaker pro tem Patrick McHenry, a prospect that would require Democrat support. This is another thing that kills me. Oh, Gates worked with Democrats. If you want Speaker McHenry in there, you got to work with Democrats. It's so weird. But we'll see. It looks like we're going to round 4. Are we going to do round 4 soon? Are we still wrapping up round 3?
Still wrapping up round 3. Hakeem Jeffries, 210. 194 for Jordan. 25 other votes.
Jeez. Run it back, baby. Let's just keep running that thing back. McCarthy has the high score, 15 rounds of voting. Let's
beat it.
Those are rookie numbers. We got to get those numbers up. It's 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, they are still voting in the House this third speaker vote, this third round with Jim Jordan as the GOP designee. We'll get you the totals on that. Also, the latest on Israel-Hamas war coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. This is Agenda-Free Friday. Not gender-free, agenda-free. I always get the texts. I'm like,
without fail.
We've been doing this for like a few Fridays in a row now. Agenda-Free Friday, where like I come in with no agenda. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. And it never fails. I get 10 to 15 texts. Did you say gender-free?
Gender-free?
No. Nope, didn't say that. But anything you want to talk about, we can talk about because it's Agenda-Free Friday. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Did you see that the latest travel alert?
I saw. Yeah, I skimmed by this.
This is. I thought it was. I kind of chuckled. Like it's like.
Gosh.
Normally it's just like one country or anything like that.
Yeah.
Biden admin issues worldwide caution. Don't travel anywhere. The alert was due to tensions in various locations around the world, the potential for terrorist attacks, demonstrations, or violent actions against U.S. citizens. It's a worldwide caution.
Dang.
To keep your head on a swivel. U.S. citizens are urged to stay alert. And don't go anywhere.
Can I still go to Kansas City?
You can't.
Oh.
So
dang it.
Yeah, you got to not
miss the game.
Yeah, you got to miss the game.
If you are going, get there swiftly.
Oh, Ken Weaver bringing the heat. He's got the news for you right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 11 o'clock on the dot this Friday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in our nation's capital, still no House Speaker. Jim Jordan is the GOP designee. He appears to be short of the necessary votes again, even after the person he's trying to replace endorsed him.
Being Speaker is not an easy job, especially in this conference. But I've seen Jim spend his entire career fighting for freedom, no matter what, no matter the odds, and I know he is ready for the job.
That is Kevin McCarthy. Jordan indicated earlier this morning he would ask that the House stay in session this weekend to keep voting if necessary. Israel-Hamas war, continuing coverage. Michelle Franzen.
Tensions building in the Middle East over the Israel-Hamas war and a humanitarian crisis worsening in Gaza. Food, water, and other essential aid stalled at the Rafah border crossing. ABC's Ian Pannell has the latest on talks between Israel and Egypt.
The official explanation is that there are potholes, holes in the road caused by Israeli bombing that need fixing. But it's days since we heard that explanation. That still doesn't seem to have been resolved. We expected protests after Friday prayers in a number of countries around the region. It looks like large protests in Jordan, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. A lot of anger out there about what's taking place here in Gaza.
Israeli forces staging outside North Gaza, ready to begin a ground offensive to destroy Hamas following the Hamas attacks in Israel. President Biden, in his address last night, laid out the challenges ahead, calling on Americans to support funding for both Israel and Ukraine, wars that are, he says, a fight about freedom.
All right, Money news, the housing market, new numbers showing sales of existing homes falling again last month. That's as high mortgage rates take a toll. Here in Nashville, News 2 cited a report from RE/MAX that the average home sits on the market 31 days now, compared to 22 days last year at this time. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I'm here at the Nashville Rescue Mission doing the interviews that I look forward to doing every single year. These are incredible stories of people who have had amazing recoveries. Thanks to this amazing facility, they are able to get clean and lead a more productive life. The date of our annual radiothon is going to be Monday, November 20th. Listen in and please donate. You can get more information at 99.7 WTN, including a link to the website for Nashville's rescue mission.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN 1105. My name is Chris Hand. Hello, how are you? It's an agenda-free Friday. We talk about anything you want to talk about. Anything. 615-737-9986. You can call in or you can text. I got a text here. And let me pull it up. This guy says, I got called a whippersnapper.
Oh, yeah, no, I've got that. It's 4,200. Yep,
right,
I've got it.
Why don't you read the text for me then? Because
Okay.
I'm having trouble finding it.
4,200. Chris, I hate that you make me say this, but listen to your elders, young whippersnapper. Your, quote, forever wars trope is a prime example. We have lived enough to have seen that this war is being fought whether you want to fight or not. They attack, 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 and we must respond and defeat them, in all caps, utterly. The, quote, them is led by Marxists, jihadi Islamists, and our own radical left, and we must respond accordingly. The tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots. Your crap and that of Gates are advancing the agenda of our enemies. Have a solution or get out of the forking way. Young man, you have no solution.
Okay.
Whoa.
I hate to be a young whippersnapper. But at least for me, over the last 2 decades, let's just talk about America's involvement in foreign wars and what's that yielded for us. Let's talk about 37 million people being displaced, 4.5 million lives lost, $8 trillion price tag on our forever wars in the Middle East. Presidents like Bush, Obama, Biden, they're starting wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Yemen. Like, this has transformed the Middle East. It has caused widespread devastation. It's created numerous more terrorists. And if history has taught us anything, it's that America's foreign policy and neocon establishment, they love to start wars. They do. They love them. And these wars end up being utter disasters that are created on false premises that don't serve the interests of the American people. So that's my response.
The mic can't be dropped, but if it could, you just dropped it.
But and I get where you're at, man. Like, I'm not trying to hate on 4,200. I actually appreciate that text.
Yeah, 100%.
More than anything. I want your counterpoints. But I mean, guys, What interest for Americans does a war in Ukraine serve? What interest does funding Israel to obliterate Hamas, which they could do without us, serve? Other than, encourage other actors to get involved, which then makes us get more involved, which makes other actors get involved with World War III. My friends fought in the Middle East. My brother-in-law fought in the Middle East in these forever wars. And what did we do? We just left billions of dollars of American equipment behind, along with the lives of 13 Marines. For what? For what? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of war. And I would also say, like, my threshold for a new war is very high. It would need to be something very drastic for me to be like, yep, we got to go to war.
Something that would directly affect our soil or something like that?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I'd say, how about this? If they want to start a new war where we go in and we take out all the cartels the way Israel's taking out Hamas, I can get behind that.
Gotcha.
We got thousands of kids dying over here from fentanyl. I have to tell my little kids, if you see money on the ground, don't touch it because it could have fentanyl on it.
Yep. That's real.
That's a real thing. I have to tell my little kids that. So, what interest does Ukraine serve us? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The man can't even buy a new shirt, and we give him billions. It's ridiculous. The Trump administration actually released this ad, and I think it's timely and perfect for what we're talking about.
There are thousands of U.S. citizens, Americans, trapped in Afghanistan.
There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy in the United States from Afghanistan.
Airport in Kabul, at the U.S. Embassy that has now been evacuated.
Embassy in Kabul evacuated.
The jihadists have taken over the Afghani presidential palace. We have abandoned the American embassy in Kabul.
And the president is hiding on vacation. Then he comes back, does a statement for 20 minutes, doesn't take any questions afterwards, runs off the stage, goes back on vacation, only to return from vacation.
So the Senate has just passed the $40 billion Ukraine aid bill. Joe Biden is expected to gleefully sign it very soon.
President Biden announcing an additional $375 million military aid package for Ukraine.
This news breaking. On the anniversary of 9/11, the Biden White House just struck a deal with Iran to do a prisoner swap and release $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds.
Fox News alert, Israel is at war. That's the declaration from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after Palestinian militants launch surprise rocket attacks from Gaza overnight.
What about getting people out?
Guys,
we got people evacuated.
The answer is we're going to get people out, but I'm not going to go into detail with you now.
All right, we got to wrap up, guys. We got to wrap it up.
We got to wrap up, guys. We're going to wrap up this Biden administration. So lousy. So lousy. 4603 texted and he said, where were the talks of peace when the Ukraine war popped off? I guess peace only applies to terrorists. I was never a fan of the Ukraine war from its inception. Not a fan. Not a fan. Roger, who's driving on the road right now, has a question about RFK. Roger, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN on this Agenda-Free Friday. What's up, Roger?
What up, Chris? Hey, I'm just curious. I read somewhere the other day that if RFK runs, it's going to hurt the Republicans' chance of winning the election. I just wonder how that could be. I think it would hurt the Democrats.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it would hurt the Democrats as well. I know that RFK does have a lot of support in some conservative circles because of his stances on vaccines and how outspoken he was during the pandemic. And I like what he said about vaccines and how outspoken he was during the pandemic. I do. I like a lot of what he says. But, as far as, green energy, setting aside federal dollars for reparations, I'm hard-pressed. I don't think that he's going to gain support from the conservative side of the road. I think he's going to steal votes from Biden, but I maybe a few, but I don't think it would be anything to change the course of the election.
Well, see, I kind of I always said that the Democrats put the wrong Joe in office because Joe Manchin, to me, he's like the old Democrat, somebody you could have probably got behind as far as, some of his policies and stuff and what he believes. He's just like the old Southern Democrat was when I was growing up. But the Democrat Party as a whole has lost their way, period.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Manchin has his own issues right now. He's trailing the West Virginia governor, Jim Justice, a Republican who's going to be running against him by 13 points in the latest poll. I mean, I don't know if Joe Manchin's going to be in the Senate much longer. So I think he's got his own set of issues. But I do agree as far as middle of the road candidates. Yeah, Joe Manchin would be a better choice than Joe Biden. But I think we could probably go find random Joes on the street that would be a better choice than Joe Biden.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah,
thanks for taking my call.
No problem, man. I have a neighbor that I grew up with. This kid, his name was Joe. He would probably be a much better choice than Joe Biden. and everybody will believe me. I don't have to even go into his politics. It's just a better choice. 6436 says, Chris, your pacifism is showing again. Okay. Sorry for not beating the war drum. I don't, sometimes I don't beat the war drum, and I'm a pacifist. Did you see that text? My pacifism is showing again from 6436. Turn it into a parking lot. Woo! All right. Is that better?
I mean, yeah.
9058 says, I'd rather have Corn Pop in office than Joe Biden. Well, Corn Pop was a good dude. Corn Pop protected those kids in that neighborhood from a creepy lifeguard who was having them rub the hair on his legs. So I stand with Corn Pop. I do. Frederick in Kentucky, you have a comment on the polls. Frederick, you're on Super Talk. What's up, man?
How you doing, Chris?
What's up, man? You doing good?
Yeah. Those polls, I've been, like I said before, I've been following these politics about 35 years, and, the polls, they're going to be up and down. Somebody's going to be ahead, somebody's going to be behind. We need to basically keep our eyes on them polls when around the middle of next year. That's when it needs to be watched real close on what's going on. And as far as the House right now, they're in such disarray right now. It may be a possibility that the Republicans might wind up losing that House. If they don't get their act together, they're going to have some real serious problems keeping that.
Hey, it's not. I can't disagree with you. And then as far as your point to polls, I'm kind of in the same boat. I like them when they agree with me, and I don't like them when they seem fake. But it's like, who'd you ask? When did you ask? Where did you ask? That affects all of that. But hey, Frederick.
Right now.
Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, man, you hit it.
Oh, those polls, they're up and down, till you get close to the end. But here, this was my other question. Now, if in the event that Biden does win again, then what do we do? I mean,
I don't know. I really can't see a world where he wins again. I don't want to see a world where he wins again. And if he does win for whatever reason, if he even makes it to the election, I don't think that he can make it through this term. If you look at Joe Biden during the debates versus Joe Biden on the airplane the other day coming home from Israel, this office has aged him more than anybody. Like, people will say that the office of the presidency will age you. It aged Obama. It has aged Joe 10 times more. I feel bad. I do feel bad. I feel like his wife needs to get him out of there. But hey, Frederick, thanks for the call, man. I really appreciate you. Joe in Brentwood, you have a comment about Country Obama. Joe, you're on Super Talk.
Yes, sir. Sir, first of all, you do a hell of a good job.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
And this country, I don't know. I listen to your callers. They're great callers. This country is run by Barack Obama.
Third term, baby. Third term.
Joe Biden was elected by China, Russia, and Barack Obama was the main supporter. Number two, the Republicans can run Jesus Christ. The Democrats can run Porky Pig. Porky Pig would be your president.
Yeah, no, I get your thought process there, but Chris Christie's a Republican.
Well, he's a fat pig.
I appreciate your call, Joe. Thanks so much, man.
So matter of fact.
The guy that called me a pacifist is on the text line again, 6436. He says, in the words of your hero, Ronald Reagan, peace through strength. I mean, I like Ronald Reagan. I never would jump out on a limb and say he was my hero. And then as far as peace through strength, like, okay, Trump brought a lot of peace. He was strong. Started no new wars. So is your only way to show strength is bomb the hell out of everyone? I don't know, man. I don't like beating the war drum. I'm not with it. Just me. Larry in Clarksville, you have a story about Alaska. Larry, you've been hanging on the line for a minute. What's up, Larry?
I do, and I'm sorry I had to hang up earlier, but I actually had a contract that showed up early. And I can't tell you where, but I was stationed in Alaska, and I saw minus 78.
Oh, geez.
And when it got up to zero, I washed my car.
Yo, so Larry, my daughter was born in Detroit, and she was born, and it was negative 30 out. And when my daughter was born, it was negative 30. And then the next day was 30 degrees. And it was the best 30 degrees I had ever felt in my life. I had the windows down, and my wife was yelling at me like, we're bringing a new baby home. You can't have the windows rolled down.
Well, I mean, at 25, we were running around in shorts and T-shirts.
I get it.
When I tell people I saw minus 78, they're like, oh, that's a dry cold.
Yeah.
Minus 78.
That's when you hawk a loogie and it freezes before it hits the ground.
Well, when you walk outside and the breath from your nose freezes the hair on your mustache and they break off when you touch them, that's still cold. But listen, Alaska is absolutely beautiful. I took my ex there on a cruise a few years ago, 14-day cruise, and then we rented a car, and, I drove her, all around, and you've got to go see, I know they say it's Mount Denali, but Mount McKinley.
Okay. I'll go check it out.
You got to go through the park. There is a 6-hour bus ride, but you're going to see grizzlies. You're going to see moose. Alaska is actually my second favorite state, and if the crap does hit the fan here, I mean, I got to figure out how to move all my, trains. I'll leave that at that. To Alaska, but that's where I'm going to go.
All right, good to know. I'll meet you there, Larry. I appreciate the call. I'm getting all these texts now because I said my daughter was born in Detroit, and we're talking about Alaska. Everybody's like, oh, it's close to your country. It never fails me that the super text line calls me Canadian on a daily basis. You guys, you're always there for me.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Somebody said, Chris, don't let the naysayers and name callers bother you. You do a great job for a pacifist Canadian. All right. We got a lot more to talk about, okay? Coming up on the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Specifically regarding precision ag,
This is a movement or an initiative that Pheasants and Quail Forever is taking on where we can help farmers take advantage of the data they collect and during harvest, during planting season, and use that to identify areas in the field that are underproducing for whatever reason. Maybe it's shade, water, there's perennial wet spots, odd areas that are just hard to farm. Farm equipment's getting big now, and it's hard to farm some of these smaller areas. And so these areas that the yield isn't high enough to exceed the input costs, we're losing money on those acres. So are there some alternate land use covers, wildlife covers that we can use and put on the ground that benefit wildlife but also benefit the bottom line? There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of conservation programs and conservation practices out there that can benefit the land, and they require management. And so some people might be familiar with the Conservation Reserve Program, or CRP. And that is a program administered by USDA for farmers and landowners to take those certain areas out of production and return them to a wildlife cover beneficial to different wildlife.
We started taking non-productive acres years ago and putting them in CRP, and seeing a great benefit of that, not only for wildlife, but erosion control and the money side of it. You know, we have to make a living to stay in business just like everybody else. You know, if you've got non-productive acres that you're losing money on, and you can get something out of them, plus benefit the soil from erosion, plus benefit the wildlife.
We'll tell you what Tennessee Congressman Mark Green just said about President Biden's funding request for Ukraine, Israel, and others as a result of the Israel-Hamas war. And it looks like we're going to need a fourth round of voting to try to seat a speaker. We'll tell you about this last vote. Let you hear some of it coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ooh, in reference to your Mark Green comment, please say hard pass. Please say hard pass. Please say hard pass. It's 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Al in Friendswood, you have a comment on the direction the country is going in on this Agenda-Free Friday. What's up, Al?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. You can tell that my accent, I'm not from U.S., but I'm a cross-U.S. citizen. I'm from Iran. And this administration, actually this whole country, is going down. And we don't like it. I've seen it with my own eyes. It happened when the Muslims took over Iran. Everything went down to shit. Pardon my language. But it's happening here. Look at the Congress. How many Muslims are in there? And how are they supporting all these terrorists? And they cry, oh, these babies, you can't go kill the baby. Hey, the terrorists came in first. The Jews have the right to defend themselves.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Al. I'm having a hard time hearing you, man. I want to have a conversation with you though. Try and call back when you get a little bit of better service, okay? Man, that stinks. Al seemed like he had something to say.
Yeah, I could only make in so much of it.
He said he was from Iran, so I knew that's probably the truth because Americans say Iran. So it's an agenda-free Friday. You never know what you're going to get. It's a bag of mystery. 615-737-9986. We do have more stories to get to, and there's so much this week that we haven't even touched on. But Joe Biden last night saying he's going to deliver a massive aid package. And Joe in Nashville has a comment on that aid that they said they would be delivering to Gaza. What's up, Joe? You're on Super Talk.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm all in support of the humanitarian aid as long as the sides of the trucks don't read Acme bombs and missiles, because Lord knows they would never sneak anything in with a UN tag on the side of it or humanitarian aid that said food or baby wipes or whatever.
No, I totally agree. Please don't deliver Acme missiles. Here's the thing that and I mentioned this earlier. Thanks for the call, Joe. The thing that crushes me about the aid is that he's securing aid from Egypt. It's going to be shipped in from Egypt to Gaza, right? But Joe Biden said last night that if Hamas doesn't divert or steal this shipment, we're going to provide an opening for sustained delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance for the Palestinians. So, two things. There's no way Hamas doesn't get some of their hands on it. A. Also, it just feels like it's an obvious setup. Why would he put such a qualifier on delivering human aid? And in what world is aid being stolen from people that need it an adequate justification to totally abandon the people who we're supposed to be sending aid to? Right? Like, if people need aid and we're going to send aid to them, and then people steal the aid, we're not going to do it anymore. Wouldn't that mean they need more aid? I don't understand. I don't either. I just feel like don't do it or don't put that qualifier on it. Just me? Maybe it's just me. 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot this Friday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Breaking news right now in Georgia. Attorney Kenneth Chesborough has pleaded guilty in the election interference case against former President Trump. And right now in our nation's capital.
No person having received a majority of the whole number of votes cast by surname, a speaker has not been elected. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
That took a long time to say that Jim Jordan lost on the third round of voting. Looks like there might be a fourth. But when is the question? Israel-Hamas war continuing coverage. 7th District Congressman Mark Green on Fox News responded to the White House request for a $105 billion aid package that includes money for Ukraine.
Yeah, so this request is a non-starter because, look, you can't conflate our relationship with Ukraine and our relationship with Israel.
Yeah, Biden wants $61.4 billion for Ukraine, $14 billion for Israel, $9 billion for humanitarian aid split between Gaza, Ukraine, and Israel. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
One of the big words being thrown around in the investing world right now is this one. You may have heard it. Fiduciary. The idea that the investment advisor has to keep your interest first when they give advice. Now, it's being used in a marketing sense right now, and one of the things that I found fascinating, there was a study by the University of Southern California and Indiana University. They looked at investment advisor portfolios and they found that they were making basic academic mistakes in the management of their own portfolios. And the question that they asked was, if they can't even keep their own best interest first, how are they going to keep your best interest first? That was the question. Now, one of the things that we do at Paul Winkler Inc. is every one of our offices, 10 offices, is run by a degreed planner, number one. But we go way beyond the call of duty when it comes to fiduciary and making sure that we're using academically sound principles in investing. Evidence-based. In other words, a lot of this is backed by Nobel Prize winning research. To learn more about our approach to investing in financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call or call 615-851-1950.
Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, when I met with these guys a few weeks back, or probably a couple months back now, they told me that in their industry, they provide a service that you don't know you need it until you know you need it. And boy, after we had a critter in my crawl space, I poked my head down there and realized I need some help in my crawl space. These guys are right. I didn't know I needed it until I knew I needed it. And I'm on the schedule now with my friends at USS for a full crawl space encapsulation. It's going to look so nice and so clean down there that my kids have been badgering me to be able to use the crawl space as a clubhouse. I kid you not. That's really happened. But if you need some help with your crawl space, if you haven't put your head down there in a while, I suggest you do. And look around. If you're noticing water in your crawl space, wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors, that's your house trying to tell you something. So give the guys at USS a call to check it out, 615-488-7855. With 25,000 satisfied customers, I'm confident that you will be satisfied as well. Call USS today, 615-488-7855, or have all your questions answered online at USSTN.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. It's 11:35 on this Friday. Where did the show go, my man? Whew. Agenda-free Friday. We talk about anything you want to talk about. Our friend Al tried to call in a minute ago. He didn't have great service. Al is from Iran. And Al, you have better service now. What's up?
All right, my friend. Thank you for taking my call. And I tried to control my emotion and not cuss.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so talk to me. What's on your mind, Al?
What I'm afraid of, I've been in this country for almost 45 years.
Okay.
I'm a proud U.S. citizen. I went through the legal way, and I become a citizen of this country. And I will give my life for this country. But what I'm seeing is the same thing that was happening in Iran. When the Muslim ideology came in place, and they fooled everybody with that, they took over. And when they took over, they controlled everything. They destroyed everything. Look at our house right now. How many Muslims are in there? And they are radical Muslims. I don't got nothing against Muslims. I got against Muslim ideology that you have to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All these people that they're going and they're having a protest supporting the Palestinians, I don't got nothing against Palestinians, but Palestinians were the one that voted Hamas in to run their country. Israel was not attacking Hamas. Hamas was the one that came in like savages, and they killed innocent people. So what are the Jews supposed to do? Sit back and, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be humane. Humane what?
Hey, I totally agree with you. And I think, I said this yesterday, I think Israel's response has been rather reserved considering how angry they were.
Pardon me, it's because of the ignorant president we have in this country.
Yep. I totally agree.
Okay.
We have weak leadership, and it's
Why would you release $6 billion to Iran? Why would you allow Iran to sell oil to China? When Trump was in the president of this country, he was choking them by all the sanctions that he put on them. And as soon as this moron came to the office, he destroyed everything.
Oh, yeah.
From our energy,
from
our borders.
It hasn't been that long either.
No.
And when he came to the office, he said, the adults are back. Everything they said Trump would do, Joe Biden has done for us.
Exactly. And I hate to tell you this too, I don't believe in our election anymore. It is rigged. Our media is rigged. Our election is rigged. Everybody in politics, they're rigged. Why do you think they're sending all this money to Ukraine?
Oh, yeah. They're just washing their hands in the military-industrial complex. I totally agree. Thanks for the call, Al. I appreciate you listening, man, and I appreciate you sharing your perspective. Much appreciated. Thank you.
God bless this country.
Hey, man. God bless. God bless you. Thanks so much. Interesting. I like getting that perspective.
Oh, it was awesome, man. Yeah, that was great.
Everybody's saying Al is 100. He's got it.
Based for sure.
Based Al.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I listen, it always seems like the people that come through legally, become U.S. citizens, and have come from these countries, you see it with Cubans a lot. You see it with people from South America. They've seen the worst the world has to offer. And then they see what's happening here, and they're like, why are we just sitting on our hands? Totally get it. Totally get it. Terry on line 1, you have a comment on aid, and this is which aid are we talking about, Terry? The aid to the Palestinians or the $100 billion that we're trying to throw in?
The aid to the Gaza Strip.
Yes, sir.
That our wonderful president said, when he qualified, here's an answer to you how he qualified it or why he qualified if they don't steal it. It's real simple. We both know they will. And that gives whoever is in charge, because it's not Biden, the authority to put boots on the ground. That's your window right there to get boots on the ground. They steal the aid. In the process of stealing the aid, American troops or someone gets harmed, there you go. Open door for the Americans to put boots.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's not a far-fetched theory, Terry. I appreciate the call. It's not far-fetched. It just seems like everybody in Washington will look for any excuse to launch us into war. Seems that way. I prefer a president with mean tweets and no new wars, personally.
Trump was right, and Joe Biden was wrong.
Spoiler alert. Have you heard, I played it earlier this morning on the Amigos. Have you heard the new artificial intelligence rap battle between Barack Obama and Joe Biden? Barack Obama and Donald Trump.
I only got to hear a snippet of it. I got to hear the whole thing.
Okay. Hold on. I have it somewhere.
Okay, let's go. Heck yes.
All right. This is so I love the artificial intelligence stuff because I think it's hilarious. And this is an artificial intelligence rap battle between Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Oh, and Joe Biden is the moderator of the debate. Okay? You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm Joe Rogan. I'm Joe Biden. I'm Joe Namath. I'm Joe Rogan. Joe Biden, and I'm here to officiate his rap battle.
Your wife is a thought, and she used to pose nude.
Well, Big Mike, your wife is a dude.
January 6th, you caused a violent insurrection.
Well, that's because they stole my election.
I asked Melania, you can't get in the sheriff.
You want to take away our guns, but you still have protection.
That rat on your head is a wig. Who you fooling? You're orange like a Cheeto when you're connected to Putin. You're like Dennis Rodman. I'm more like MJ.
You had the worst economy, probably in decades.
Overweight, out of shape, literally dead weight.
Who the hell you talking to? I know you skipped leg day.
A racist, a traitor, the KKK defend you.
Well, you're not American, Obama. You're from Kenya. You left the border open. Economy was broken. I bet that you were on the island. Everybody knows it.
Under me, there was less division and more unity.
The first black president hated the black community. You working with the feds, wiretapping people's phones. We all know that you killing innocent kids with drones.
You're a fake politician. You're an actor. You're a fraud.
Well, at least I don't worship government over God.
You didn't pay your taxes. I'm loved by the masses.
Maybe the upper classes housing market collapses.
Rappers rap about me. I'm cool in the trap house.
Trap house, Obama? Don't you mean bathhouse? Plus, they were rapping about me when you were a senator. I'm like Chris Hansen. I'm about to catch a predator.
You said there were good people on both sides.
That was out of context. The fake news when it lied.
You dropped the ball in COVID, and no one is surprised.
You spent trillions in the Middle East, and tons of people died.
Obama phone, Obamacare. I care about the poor.
I'm the first president to start no new wars.
You're guilty of collusion, ignoring the Constitution. I'm a two-time winner. I don't know about losing.
You created feminists. You funded terrorists. Your chef was dead in your backyard, and no one questioned it. Spied on my campaign. You and Bush crashed planes. Me, I give ordinary citizens a tax break.
Barack Obama did a great job, and so did Ronald Trump. Who do you think won? Comment in the radio box down below.
Comment in the radio box. Who won the AI battle? Was it Ronald Trump or Barack Obama?
Oh, that was so good.
There's some zingers in there.
Some great lines.
He said, "I'm cool in the trap house," and he said, "Don't you mean bathhouse?"
Bathhouse. Oh man.
So he skipped leg day.
That was so funny. You fooling? We know you skipped leg day.
It's just for fun. Sometimes we just got to have a little fun. The news is like, especially these past couple of weeks, the news has been so heavy that me and Mac have talked about this off air. It's like we have to find moments where we can laugh and still go about our days and enjoy our lives and have fun. Being in this country is such a gift. And even with all the bad stuff going on, like, you have to be cognizant of the fact that we are in control of our own destiny, and that, like, we're in control of our own happiness. And if you get bogged down by the news, if you're getting depressed with the news cycle, like, it's okay to take a break from it and laugh. You know what I mean?
That's a great reminder. Yeah.
Like, it's all WWF anyway. It's like everything that they show you on TV, there's something else happening behind the scenes. Like, just take a deep breath. It'll work itself out.
Yeah, take a deep breath and remember that you're here in the volunteer state or wherever you are listening, and that it's okay. Sun's outside.
Tennessee is literally the best state in the absolute country to live in.
Bingo.
I don't think that there's any other place like this. And this is the start of the time of year where we start showing off. And it's like, you know what I'm going to do this weekend? I'm going to go hang out with my kids and play hockey in the driveway.
Heck yeah.
And I'm not going to pay attention to the news cycle. And I'm not going to be reading tons of garbage. I'm going to, go out to dinner with my family and have fun. And if you get hooked on this news cycle and you get yourself into like that mind space where like everything's bad, nothing's going to get better, you're setting yourself up for that. Like, so enjoy your weekend. You know what I mean?
Have fun, man.
Have
family,
fun with
friends.
your family,
yeah.
and your kids,
Watch a movie.
And like, remember what's actually important,
Yeah, temperature's going to be nice this week. Go outside, have a barbecue, grill, something.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Tennessee plays at 2:30 tomorrow.
Yes. It's Bama Hate Week.
Bama Hate Week. You've been waiting for this.
I've been waiting the whole time. Woo! Seriously, though, but yeah.
What's your prediction on the game this weekend, Mac?
It's going to be really close. I think I'll go 24-20. Balls.
All right.
Let's go.
And the Titans are off this week, right?
Bye week, yep.
Yep, because they were in London last week.
Yep. Yep, and they'll open up back at home next Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons.
Lazy Titans taking the week off.
It's looking like our House of Representatives.
That's like the House of Representatives. They're on the Joe Biden work plan this week. They're taking it off. Matt Murphy, I've seen him walking around the hallways. Matt Murphy's in here. We're going to check in with him next. Jim Jordan, still not the speaker. Joe Biden, still a lousy president. Still wars happening in the Middle East. Did we cover everything that we needed to cover?
I think that's about it.
All right, we nailed it. It's the Chris Hand Show. Thanks for being here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand joined in the studio by Matt Murphy. I got to ask you, Matt, that AI rap battle between Trump and Obama, what were your thoughts?
This is the one as heard on Nashville's Morning News?
Yeah, I just played it a minute ago, too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm not a fan.
Really? Why? Was it the fun? Was it the fun and the smiling that it caused?
Yes, I gravitate away from happy things. No, I'm not gonna crap all over it like Mandis did this morning on Nashville's Morning News. I heard that. No, I just the AI voices creep me out.
Do they?
And I don't know what it is about it, but because I get it. It feels like Trump. It's inventive, but there's something weird about it. I don't know.
I think it's hilarious.
It freaks me out.
I'm in it for the memes.
Gives me the heebs.
You should watch the video with it. The video
is it the fun?
It's the
not the fun. I had fun. Yesterday's show was fun. I lost my mind yesterday.
Did you? I heard that you were yelling.
I did. I'm not talking politics today. I don't think I'm talking politics.
Well, I've heard the super texters are already weighing in about the now infamous Matt Murphy sandwich challenge.
Yes, so I told the story about my grandmother making peanut butter and butter sandwiches, that I was never a fan of peanut butter and jelly. This came from Congressman Burchett. He was like posting videos or photos of his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And I said, I'm a peanut butter and butter fan, which Bell was like, what? And Max like, what? And
I've done that on toast. That's solid.
So we're doing some peanut butter and butter. Erica made a peanut butter and jelly just as kind of a baseline. And then listeners encouraged us to try peanut butter and mayonnaise.
Oh.
And we're doing it. There's one in there. I don't know. We'll see.
I had one texter ask if I was going to be a part of it.
Come on.
I said I am not. And he said, what do Canadians put on their peanut butter sandwiches? And I commented back. I said, I'm not a part of it, but for the record, maple syrup.
Yeah, I said syrup. Syrup, just like a Canadian.
Syrup.
Why are you asking me about that? I don't know. Should be a good show, eh?
And now you're a pacifist Canadian because you don't want us to get in a two-front war.
Oh my gosh, gosh forbid. Let me hold on. Do you have the drum? Banging the war drum. Let's make some parking lots. Woo!
I don't know. We can talk about it, but yeah, I don't. Biden's thing last night. My goodness.
Oh, it was terrible. 8602 just texted. He said peanut butter and marshmallow cream. So I do have a thing right here. Fluff was created in Massachusetts. Did you know that? Marshmallow fluff.
Marshmallow fluff.
Okay. There's a thing you can do. It's called a fluffer nutter.
I know about the fluffer nutter.
But you grill it like a grilled cheese.
Ooh. Wow. That's exciting.
That sounds pretty nice.
Sounds great.
See, that's next level Canadian cuisine for all you guys keeping score at home.
I was very excited because when I was in college, fluffer nutter was something different. But when I realized it was in adult life, it was a sandwich. The big moment for me. That's just me being 13. Throwing the 13. You. No. Don't give me the Mandis cricket. I don't want no Mandis crickets. Poor Dan. Something you said this. I would smack around Dan Mandis because he's probably in bed after 45 hours of talk radio this week.
Super dope.
Which is incredible. You said something to him about, do you know about, what was it? You said, do you know about, and he goes, well, yeah, I know about that. And it was so obvious he didn't. What was it? It was today.
It was today? Dang it.
It was like, well, Dan, you know about the so-and-so. And Dan was like, well, yeah, I know about it. A super texter, if they were listening, they'll get it.
It was probably something cool.
It was. It was like something young and hip. And now it was like something, some entertainment. I don't know. Pop culture reference. Lost on Mandis. But that's every day.
Weird.
You're just the young buck of the group. You're hanging around with a bunch of old farts.
It's so weird. It's like I'm 35. I'm the young guy here. But when I was working at Turning Point, I was 35 and I was the old guy.
I'm just happy you're here because Mandis, since I've been here 2 years ago, he's like, we have to get on Super Talk 99.7 WTN a pacifist foreigner.
He said it's the only thing we're missing.
The key ingredient.
It's the only thing we're missing.
On that. And then look, and here he is.
We need more Canadians. All right. We got a lot to talk about on the Matt Murphy Show. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.